Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here today to discuss about a very important topic that I think is very interesting for me to talk about here today before I do NXT review later on tonight. The topic is, if you had the money to go see WWE Summerslam versus Manny Pacquiao versus Earl Spence Jr., which is taking place right after SummerSlam, and you could only choose one, which one would you choose? Well, if I lived in the area, number one, I'd take Earl Spence and Pacquiao fight over WWE SummerSlam. Here's why. One, it's boxing. Two, it's not predetermined. Three, they're legitimately fighting for something. And four, they could hype that thing up just as good as a WWE show could and literally provide a storyline behind what's going on for the lead up towards that fight. WWE provides none of that anymore. And I did a lot of bashing earlier here on the channel discussing about my aspect and views on the whole situation with Monday Night Raw after not watching it for several months and how it has deteriorated and turned it into absolute shit. Alright? So, personally, I don't really want to sit here and bash it to death because I'm just going to repeat myself. But if you had to choose between SummerSlam and Manny Pacquiao and Earl Spence Jr., what would you choose? Because I know what I'd choose. And bottom line, I don't know who in their right mind would want to go to SummerSlam and spend a couple of $100 on a pay-per-view that chances are outside of Roman Reigns is not going to mean a continental shit. Your view on the event you're not going to see very well unless you're willing to spend thousands and thousands of dollars for the pay-per-view. If I'm going to spend thousands of dollars on a pay-per-view, I'd rather go ahead and see something that's not predetermined and actually has a lot of build towards it. Pacquiao and Earl Spence have a great story. Here's why. You got an old-timer who's still doing it at the age of 40-plus years old, Manny Pacquiao. You got Earl Spence Jr., who's a young fighter in his mid to late 20s who's becoming very successful, has won multiple championships in his weight class, which is the welterweight division, if you're not familiar with boxing. And for all we know, they could cut videos and do all kinds of things, talk about how they feel about their opponent, and do all that lead-up build going into it, and we get what we're looking for. Everything that we're not getting in professional wrestling, especially with WWE. I think that that is more worth your money and your buck than it would be for a WWE SummerSlam pay-per-view to go to. Now, if you're going to sit at home and you're watching, yeah, I would choose that over Manny Pacquiao. I mean, you could always watch it after the show is over. But if I had to choose and go to which show I'd go to, because I don't have the money to go to both, I'd go to fucking boxing. I'd go to Earl Spence Jr. and Manny Pacquiao for their fight. So, bottom line, guys, I mean, you got a wrestling fan choosing a boxing event over a pay-per-view, which is their second biggest pay-per-view in their entire, out of their 4 best pay-per-views that they have. That's pretty fucking pathetic. Really, that is. So that doesn't speak much of WWE as a whole. And I don't know, man. I really don't. I just really am tired of being disappointed and let down by this company. And I don't want to sit here and bash it and repeat myself over and over again. But like I said, Earl Spence and Manny Pacquiao probably has more storyline going into it than any of the stories that are going to go into SummerSlam outside of John Cena and Roman Reigns. If that match even takes place. We don't even know yet. It's just rumors. So until we see it done on television or there's a legit confirmation John Cena was backstage somewhere talking to Vince McMahon or some kind of shit like that, we don't know if this is really going to take place one way or another. So take the Roman Reigns John Cena match off. You have diddly shit nothing when it comes to storyline build, because John Cena and Roman Reigns have a great story. They've competed against each other, number one. They're both top dogs in their generation of wrestling. And, you know, Roman Reigns is this dominating character now as a world champion on his brand. So, with all that being said, you got a lot of story going on there. A really good reason to have the match take place. You know, John Cena wanting to show Roman Reigns he needs to have respect for his family and the people that he works with. And he doesn't seem to express any respect to anybody at all. You know, demanding people to acknowledge him as the top guy and whatever in pro wrestling. I mean, that's your story. And then you got fucking Roman Reigns who can come out and say, look, you know what? You want to talk about respect. You want to talk about earning it. You haven't been here in years. You haven't done nothing. And you want to demand a world championship from me? And, you know, one thing can lead to another, and that's it. I'm sure with Paul Heyman behind the scenes, it's going to turn out well. Why Vince McMahon won't allow Paul Heyman to do what he's doing with Roman Reigns with other performers outside of Roman Reigns is beyond me, which is why I still believe that the Roman Reigns agenda is still in effect. I still think that exists. I think they do it for Roman. They make everyone else suffer and suck dick and mean nothing so that they can help Roman become what he is today, which is working out great. He is great. And I don't think it would take anything away from his momentum if other people had that same, you know, creativity and the same, drive and care for the character. But Vince McMahon don't care about anyone else but Roman Reigns. I don't know, man. I really don't. I think that Vince McMahon needs to take a hike. I think he really needs to step back and really look at things and observe what they are. Because honestly, I don't think he is paying attention to nothing on this show outside of making it into a full-fledged circus and a joke, which has been for a long time anyway, but he really took it to new levels last night, in my opinion, for Monday Night Raw. SmackDown, you don't really see it that way that often, but personally, you know how I feel, guys. I'm over this company. I don't know how much longer I'm going to keep pushing myself to review these shows on WWE's product because of what they've been doing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I may review a pay-per-view month to month because it's only once a month instead of doing it week to week. But I got a lot of other important things I could be doing in my life than sitting there watching some bullshit wrestling that Vince McMahon seems to just make a mockery out of. So, that's just my aspect on it and how I look at it. Let me know what you guys think. Would you choose Manny Pacquiao and Earl Spence Jr.'s boxing match over the SummerSlam pay-per-view? And here's the other thing, guys. You're not just getting Earl Spence and Pacquiao. You're getting a multiple of different fights, too. You're getting about 3 or 4 fights that go a total of 30 minutes each. And then the other fight, which will take about 36 to 40 minutes to complete. So at the end of the day, you're still getting that full 3 hours of entertainment of boxing while WWE's providing the same thing, but at the same time, they're giving you Mickey Mouse bullshit. So, flip the coin. What would you choose? Earl Spence Jr. and Manny Pacquiao's event or WWE SummerSlam? Let me know in the comments down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that as I always do. Hit the like button if you like this video. And hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. I thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys later on tonight for NXT's June 22nd, 2021 review. Bye.